With the yo-ho-ho, it's Tale of the Toaster. Welcome back to Let's Play Inazuma 11 Go Light. In this episode, we're going to take on a team coached by Steve Grimm, the Inazuma Kids FC. Now, something you'll find and notice before a match is that the game will actually tell you what kind of level you should be for it to be an even match. Steve says you should be around level 3, and if we look at the bottom screen, we are exactly team level 3. So we will get into play. Steve Grimm doesn't actually appear in the anime at all. This is our story team. We've obviously not really got any other teams that we could use at the moment. I'm happy with the formation. They've done it on purpose so that you get the best balance. So straight away we'll just use that and take on the Inazuma Kids FC, who are apparently an even match in terms of level. We've got Poindexter right in the middle, who's the odd one out. But we'll have a look at this team who's coached by Steve. Yeah, he used to play for Raimon 11, and he was also a bit of a meme on my channel. I love how it says popular with the kids. He's just the guy who I didn't even give a special voice, which is now the gimmick that I've used on Sam, the goalkeeper, because he's a pretty generic guy, let's be fair. And he just... oh, the comments. If you haven't been a long-time viewer of my channel, I would get a recurring comment on every single episode, usually from Daniel Philpott or Stelio7, just saying, "Where is Steve?" And I just sucked it up and made it a meme. And now we know where he is. He is the coach of Inazuma Kids FC. And I didn't mean to skip that, but never mind. What can you do? I think that's a wonderful conclusion to his story. The game also wants to teach us the basics, because this is our first example of a full-on match where we have full control. We can do long shots. I'll just, rather than talking to it window by window, I'll just gradually explain everything throughout the course of the match as I see fit. There's no special requirements for this one like there was against, say, Order of the Black Templars. We can just play this as we see fit. And I've already overestimated my player's speed, expecting that Arion would be able to catch up to that, and he wouldn't because he's a level 3 player. But the key to scoring in this match is to use Dodge and Kaiser, because those are the only people with special moves. I take it back, Kaiser does not have a special move at all. So basically, you've got to score with Dodge, because... okay, never mind, we'll score normally. Something I find in Inazuma 11 Go is that the goalkeepers are actually much better than the players. If you take a regular shot, then the goalkeeper will almost always save it no matter what. Clearly we've got an exception here because the Inazuma Kids FC are not especially good, but special moves are absolutely the key to scoring in this game, which makes for a tricky opening to the game actually, because very, very few players on your team have any special moves at all. Riccardo de Rigo has Fortissimo Foot, Dodge has Sonic Shot, and that's genuinely about it. Victor Blade has one, but we're not really gonna be using that guy much. He's off doing his own thing. And so what I'm doing, just in case this is your first time seeing an Inazuma 11 game, it's better for me to talk through the very basics so we're all on the same page. I can tap on these players, which is actually a new feature for Inazuma 11 Go. For the first 3 games, you always had to drag your players towards them manually, which I can still do with any of my players. When you tackle them up, you can either use block or slide. I'm going to pick block in this case, which is the weaker of the 2 options, as we saw, because it failed. Slide is much more effective at taking the ball, but you have a greater chance of losing the ball afterwards, especially when you're at low level, because, you know, sliding tackles, they're not the most precise things in the world, but once you get lower leveled, you never lose grip of the ball after a slide, so you will not find me using the option on the left very much. Slide is just inherently better, and it's the same when you're holding the ball and you try to dribble past someone. I'll try to explain this in practice if I can get the ball and then run into somebody. Again, I'll use a slide because it's... oh, fair enough, this guy's the best player in the world. I'll tap on this player, that's going to make all of my players naturally run towards her, but she's too good, I can't do it. Alright, so we've got the ball in Eugene Peabody's grip, so I'm just going to let someone try to take it off me. We've got the two options, dodge and charge, which is much the same. Charge is much more effective and has a higher success rate, but you do occasionally lose your grip on the ball while doing so. That dodge was successful because I had two players beside me, which raised my chances of success. But here in a tense situation, I'm much more likely to use a charge because it is just better. And finally, we've got the options between shoot and chip shot, which, again, it doesn't really matter much because you should always be using special moves when possible. Shots are more powerful, while chip shots are more accurate. And you can also lower or raise the power of them. Again, lowering it makes it more accurate. I might as well show what it's like to use a low power shot, but you, to be blatant, shouldn't ever do this because shots are always accurate even when they're at max power. There's no reason to weaken the power of your shot, but the option's there if you really, really want to. You know, so I'll mostly be sticking to slides. I sometimes use the other option just so it's visually a little bit more mixed up, but slide is just better. That's the way it's been since the very first Inazuma 11 game, and nothing's really changed since then. Gonna try and pass to Kaiser because Arion, as you could see, got a little tired. Now, here we've got an option between volley and header, and that's because I passed the ball to Kaiser and then tapped the goal before the ball actually got to him, which simply gives me the option of two shots which are more powerful than shots and chip shots. Volley, again, is the more powerful one, while headers are slightly more accurate. Which doesn't make too much sense. They should both be wildly inaccurate, but that's the way it is. And I generally find that much more of an effective way to play. When I'm playing Inazuma 11, I always like to pass to a player and then tap on the goal before the ball has actually been caught by my other player. It allows me to use a special move even before it's with them. It means there's less time that people could spend taking the ball from me, and even if I don't have any special shots, at least it allows me to set up a volley or a header, which is just better. So that is, whenever people ask me for advice on the occult match in the very first game, that extraordinarily difficult opening match which had no business being as hard as it is, that's the main advice I like to give to people in that game. Working on using the idea of planning a player's move before they've actually got the ball. That's what I find makes me good at Inazuma 11 games. Passing as much as you can and then having that player's next move thought out in mind. Kaiser missed the ball there because he's still a bit low leveled, but you won't find scenarios like that happening when he is higher leveled. So we'll just try and charge one more time, and we'll go for a shot with Kaiser. I showed the chip shot once already. What I especially like about the shots in this game, yes, it's a little strange that you have the option of making your shot weaker if you want, and apparently the goalkeeper had a special move this entire time. He kept that one quiet, but there we go, he apparently does. Yeah, it used to be that the default for shots and chip shots in the first three games was kind of mid-power, and I'd always have to do an extra button press to make sure it was full power. They at least fixed that for this game. Now shots are always max power by default, as they should be. The only thing left to do is remove the option in the first place, because it's pointless. If I want to have more accuracy, then I'm going to go for a chip shot instead of a regular shot. I'm not just going to make my normal shot weaker. That defeats the point entirely. It just confuses me, but there we go. So it is a pity that they don't let more of your team have special moves for demonstration purposes. Like, genuinely, I am just going on pure fundamentals here, and all of my players are exhausted through repeatedly doing things. Finally, we can go for a sonic shot, the one special move in our entire arsenal. Straight towards the goal. That's going to go in, of course. But just some passing comments on the Inazuma Kids FC. It is really nice to see them all grown up. So we had that little surprise in Team Ogre Attacks, where they gave you a preview of Inazuma 11 Go in this area, but using Inazuma 11.3's engine. That was the first time we got to see Millie Moonlight all grown up. And now we get to see a couple more of the people from the original game's Inazuma Kids FC team, but actually grown up. Muller used to be their goalkeeper, or at least I think he's one of their defenders now, but I'm sure he was the goalkeeper back when he was originally in the team. But now he's aged, let's say if he was about 8 before, he must be about 18 now, and he's grown out his facial hair. And just making Steve the captain is genius, because he's always been a relevant character to Raimon, because he was in the first game as a member of the successful team. But we all know he was a bit useless and didn't really have much of a future in football. So he's just raising up the kids team, which is a nice little job for him to do. It's still football themed without being especially challenging for him. And we get to see Steve again. Like I said, he's not in the anime except for a 3-second cameo where he doesn't even say anything. So at least in the game he gets a role, and he gets to be the coach, where something I didn't mention actually is that depending on who your coach is in a match, it actually influences the team's stats in a certain way. Steve's influence doesn't do very much for a team, as you might expect, but at least he has one. I did show it at the start of the video, but I forgot to read it out, so I'll just remind you in a caption what his influence actually did. But that is it. That is 32 minutes, so matches in Inazuma 11 Go are actually pretty long. We are already 12 minutes into the video, despite just doing one match with as few special moves as possible. Obviously, they boost up the running time, and then especially when we have story-required matches with dialogue, you're gonna find matches going on for a while. Somebody just learned a special move there, but I didn't actually see who it was. But what that also does is unlock the competition route, which is here in this park, and that's something I'm mainly going to be doing off screen. It's just a way to grind out experience and unlock a few small rewards, but I'm not going to do it now because I don't have Riccardo or Victor on my team, and I kind of need them for their special moves to get the best ranking possible. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, ah! Ow! Okay, one more time. If I keep at it, I'll get there eventually. Then I'll be able to do some special moves. No one to train with, and yet he keeps going. He must really love football. It makes me think there must be something I can do to make things right. Sounds like it'll be a tough match for you guys, but I know you'll come out on top. We'll be cheering you on all the way. Wow, they didn't put the flashback image in grayscale, breaking traditions. Sometimes there are things you just cannot overcome, no matter how hard you try. Well, that's not the Inazuma 11 mindset. That's funny. I feel like someone else is watching me. Is it Jade and Sky by any chance? Anyway, they're going to send us packing, go home. We finally actually see what the third of the 5 things in the menu is. It's literally just go home and speak to Aunt Sylvia. I don't know if Sylvia is actually his legal aunt or if it's just kind of a term. There's plenty of people in my life who I refer to as my aunt, but legally I only have one aunt. It was just a single message from Sam. That wasn't worth it at all. But yeah, that's kind of a British tradition, which doesn't really make as much sense to people from other countries, but we kind of colloquially call women of a certain age our auntie if they're close family friends. But Sylvia could genuinely be his aunt. It's never really said either way. What's happened to you? You're covered in cuts and bruises. Don't worry, Auntie Sylvia, I'm not hurt. I've just been training down by the river. Well, alright then. You're really serious about all this training, aren't you? Come on, let's get you cleaned up. See you tomorrow, Sky. Well, I thought you should know something Miss Hills told me a little while ago.
It was Victor who told everyone about Lars and Sven's deal with Prodigy Grammar.
What? Why?
I'm not sure, but it seems a little like he's trying to destroy Raimon from the inside. At least, that's my guess. I don't really know. Anyway, you've got the game tomorrow, so make sure you get lots of rest. See you later!
What's he trying to do?
Did you want something?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. You wouldn't happen to be a member of the Raimon football club, would you?
Oh, yes, I am.
I thought as much. This really takes me back.
Huh?
Sir, you're needed at head office.
I'll be right there. Well, good luck with your training.
Oh, right. Thanks. What was all that about?
Okay, you'd better all be ready for the match against Prodigy Grammar today. We're playing away. You'll take the bus to the ground. When you finish preparing, wait at the front pitch. I'm sure you all understand that this friendly match is still being formally undertaken. I expect you to conduct yourselves properly. The same goes for you, coach. If the rules are not followed, there will be consequences. Don't do anything stupid out there today. Well, you heard the governor.
Arion, your legs are all bruised. Did you get up early today to train before you came here?
That's right. I'm meant to be getting a game today, but I want to be ready when I do.
Wow, if I had a hat on, I'd take it off to you. I'd try my hardest as well.
You could take your headband off to me.
Hey Rick, where are Lars and Sven?
They aren't here yet. They've been in contact with Miss Hills. They said they'd meet up with us at Prodigy Grammar.
I hope they make it there in time. Well, why don't we head out to the front pitch and prepare ourselves?
And we get Riccardo back because we've not been able to play with him before. So if you want to do the competition route with Mr. Veteran and get some grinding in there, then now's your opportunity. And straight away we're automatically on a photograph spot. So yeah, the 5th sector carpet. How exciting. But that scene at the beginning of the episode with Xavier, I don't know if it actually said his name outright, but it clearly was Xavier from Inazuma 11.3. That was a version-exclusive cutscene. Oh, we've got a thick photo of the fountain, so why don't I do a bit of PAL packing? I think I've got 50 FP thing. I can recruit the player who wanted a picture of the fountain. Motivation. We'll add him. So yes, Inazuma 11 Go Lite has actually more version differences than any other Inazuma 11 game to date. They really made it worthwhile playing the 2 different versions of Light and Shadow. But for me, Xavier was absolutely the biggest selling point of Light in particular. If you were playing Go Shadow, then you would be getting exclusive scenes with Nathan Swift instead. And he also involves Jack Wallside in a few of his scenes. Xavier, well, we'll wait and see. And I'm the one who'll be driving you children. I used to drive Inazuma National to all their games too, you know.
No way!
Yes way, so you can rely on me. So we will be using the Inazuma bus to go to Prodigy Grammar. So we're gonna head there right now in Master Veteran's bus.
Yeah, actually what I mean to say is we'll go there in the next episode. Sorry.